everybody, welcome to this week's episode of Your 49er Insider. I'm Rob Brender. It took Dan Monson just 4 short years to repair Long Beach State men's basketball program and take it to a Big West Conference regular season championship, winning it in March of 2011. This year's team returns a host of all-league players, 7 seniors, and the Conference Player of the Year, Casper Ware, to a ball club that hopes to get back to the championship ring and make a run at the NCAA tournament.
I think as a coach, your expectations are always higher than anybody else's. So what other people expect out of you, I guess it's kind of nice, really, because when we got here, there were no expectations. So at least, to me, I guess if it means anything, it means that there's interest in the program, that people are expecting something out of it. But we've had, I go into every game figuring on winning. I think that's our job. That's our commitment to the players and a commitment to the university and to the students and the fans. So, I don't think you get any higher expectations than what we have in our staff and in our program.
Let's talk about some individual players. Casper Ware, Player of the Year in the conference, Defensive Player of the Year in the conference a year ago. A kid that obviously has transformed his game from the time he was a freshman to now going into his senior year. Talk about him in general, what you've seen, the progression of his game over the last 4 years.
Well, I always say this, but I think the best transformation of Casper Ware is Casper Ware the person. I just think he has grown into such a young man, from the shy freshman who painfully couldn't call a play out to start, to now being a captain and a leader and one of the premier point guards in America. I mean, you can sit here and describe him as a player. There's a lot of descriptions as a player, and I think everybody sees those. But what they don't see is that's going to stay with him forever, and what people don't see, with quote unquote at risk student athletes. Here's a kid that got in, to Long Beach State as a special admit, who. We're at GAR's a counselor seemed like every week hoping that he was going to make it here, to a student athlete who's going to graduate from here, who is ready to go out in the real world, whether he makes it in basketball or not, coupled with the fact that he's grown just as much as a basketball player, and he's gone from as you said, a young freshman who now can compete with anybody in the country at the point guard position.
I know that Larry Andersen was a first-team all-conference player a year ago, but in many ways it seemed like he kind of flew under the radar a bit as far as the overall scape of the conference. What have you seen from his game, and especially his leadership role?
Well, I think that injury just shows how valuable he was. I think we were 1-5 without him, and then we went 14-2 the next, or I guess it would be 17-3, 17-4 the rest of the way. So, he is extremely valuable to us because of his versatility, his leadership. He's been a captain now for 3 years. He was a captain as a sophomore, and he just does so many things. I don't know many kids in the country who are your starting 3-man and your backup point guard.
T.J. Robinson's one of 6 players in the country to average a double-double over the last 2 years. Bit of an unassuming guy, soft-spoken guy, but when he gets out on the court, very ferocious on the boards.
Well, again, he's just got as you said, kind of a quiet game. What he does is very understated. Best thing TJ does is he knows his own game and doesn't try to do too much, and is very effective at what he does. And again, as you said, he is going to, on track, if he averages a double-double again, to not just be the best rebounder in the history of Long Beach State, but in the Big West Conference. And that's a lot of players and a lot of good players.
7 new players to incorporate into the team. How important is it to develop some role players that are really going to fit in right away and make a difference with this squad this year?
Well, I think it's huge, because obviously the 4 we've had have done a great job, and they've really brought this program a long ways, but they haven't gone as far as any of us would like, and so they need help. And the recruiting the last couple of years has been solid, but it hasn't brought them over the hump, and you're hoping that this year a couple of these new guys can step in and give us different dimensions that those 4 need to. And I say 4, I really mean 5, because I think Edis has earned his way into that group. Even though he was a junior college transfer, those 5 have really deserve to get over it and get to the NCAA tournament. And I think we have some new guys that give us some ways to do that.
Just, you go through 7 months where you're away from the hardcore completely, you're doing your recruiting, you're out on the road, you're taking your vacation, and now you finally get to the point where all that excitement and is bubbled up and you can finally let it out during practice and the season starting here in just about 3 weeks. What does it feel like to you? What is that excitement level now that you get to the point where the season's starting?
Well, I did mention I've been doing it for 25 years, so I'm not going to lie. The off-season is good. I don't mind the off-season at all, but I think one of the things I like the best about my job is there are different seasons, where most people have, their job is the same year-round. What they do, in their office or whatever, they don't have that change, and it is fun to have a change of season, and I enjoy the off season. I even enjoy recruiting some now. I enjoy being away from the players, but I really enjoy the season too. And the day you don't get excited that the season has started is the day you shouldn't be doing it. And it is exciting every year to see what you can do with a new young group of people, and they make you stay young. They make you feel like you're still in college, even though you're a grown man getting old. You're out there every day with them. Took a charge the other day, and Casper's laughing and everything, and it's slower falling down every year. But it's fun to be young again, and it's fun to have a great group, to see how far we can go and what we can do to represent this great university.
Season ticket packages are now available for men's and women's basketball. For further information, log on to longbeachstate.com. Don't miss a minute of action this season at the Mid. Athletes come from all over the globe to compete for Long Beach State. However, a few decide they're going to play for the team that they grew up watching. Next week, we'll have an interview with 3 of them. Janisa Johnson of volleyball, Caitlin Gustavez of soccer, and Larry Andersen of men's basketball, all of whom grew up right here in Long Beach. That does it for this week's show. I'm Rob Brender. We'll see you on next week's episode of Your 49er Insider.